At the root of the teenage rebellious phase is the mountain of changes that your child is experiencing at that stage. So it's very important and crucial that you as the parent must have at least a basic understanding of these developmental changes so that you can accurately manage that stage of your relationship. At the top of the list of changes is the physical changes. Your child is experiencing puberty, which is very, very visible. And this can result in hormonal shifts, growth spurts, and the development of their secondary sexual characteristics. For the boys, we start seeing signs like deepening voices, they start getting muscular, the girls start developing breasts, we start anticipating or even start experiencing their monthly cycles. And at this stage of their life, they are very conscious, they become very conscious of their physical appearance and how others perceive them. So what do you do as a parent? First, you have to be patient with the mood swings, knowing that these are affected or influenced by hormonal fluctuations. So you just have to help them get centered. Secondly, offer assurance about their body image and help them to normalize the awkwardness of the physical changes that they are experiencing. Most importantly, you must get to help them accept and own the uniqueness of their body features, of their physical features, understanding the fact that they are wonderfully and fearfully made. There is no mistake. Every of their body parts, every of their features were crafted by design, designed to aid who they are and what they have been called to do. This is a journey you must be intentional about with your child, because there are things that we do as parents that actually signals to our children that something is wrong with how they look. When you get too fixated on adjusting their physical appearance, you are telling them that how they look naturally is not okay, it's not enough, something needs to be done. For instance, I personally am not comfortable with parents introducing makeup to the female child too early. I have no problem with makeup. I love makeup, but I feel that we should allow the children time to first love and accept themselves the way they are without any external or additional paddings or help. I told my daughter, you are beautiful. I want you to first accept that and get comfortable in your own skin and get comfortable with how you look with or without makeup. Then we can graduate you to using makeup. So some of these subtle things can send signals when they want to go out. You are so particular about their hair being in the right place, about how they compare against their friends and all that. We have to be careful. It's our job as parents, as their mothers, as their fathers, to get them to accept that they are perfect, because they are perfect. However they come, however they showed up in life is perfect. You know why? Because God doesn't make mistake. Another thing you can do to manage this season of physical changes effectively is to maintain open communication about puberty, about sexuality. Be very honest and open to answer their questions, because they will have questions. But you don't even wait for them to come with this question. Initiate this conversation. These are very uncomfortable conversations to have, but conversations that we must have. For my kids, the way I broke the ice was to start buying books. First, buy books for them that explains what is happening for the boy and for the girl. And then from their conversations, we start discussing the points raised in the book. And we started having this conversation way before they started experiencing these changes. As a mother, you can start having this conversation, explaining to them, your daughters, how puberty works, the implication of the changes, how they can manage themselves, personal hygiene, and stuff like that. The father, you can start having this conversation with your son. explaining these changes, the impact, what to expect, how long, and answer any of their questions with absolute honesty, at least giving them age appropriate information that will help them understand and be comfortable with what is going on. Because some of these rebellious actions actually comes from the point of them thinking something is wrong with them, that they are different. Think back to how it was for you when you were going through this phase. The questions that were not answered that you needed answered, or the questions that were answered and maybe not properly, or maybe properly, pull from your experience as a teenager. I know many of us have forgotten what it feels like to be a teenager. We must call up that experience, that phase, for us to be able to understand both the spoken and the unspoken challenges that your child might be experiencing in this phase. The next on this list is emotional changes. Teenagers experience heightened emotions. They feel very sensitive towards criticism and most often feel misunderstood, and they can also at this stage oscillate between childlike behaviors and adult behaviors. Don't forget, at this point, they are beginning to see themselves as adults, and yet they still have they are still kids, right? So you can find your child exhibiting some amazingly mature behavior. Then the next minute is doing some amazingly foolish things, childish things. You must understand and appreciate that they are at that place, a very delicate place, where even though they no longer see themselves as kids, as children, yet they are not fully adults. They are not fully confident in operating as adults. So they crave independence, but they still need the covering and the support we offer to them as children. So it's a balancing act that we all need to learn as parents. So how do you respond as a parent to this fluctuating emotional roller coaster with your child? First, you must validate these emotions, acknowledging their feelings without dismissing them or minimizing how they feel or making fun of how they feel. You can acknowledge these feelings by saying things like, I can see that this is really important to you, and progress the conversation from there. 2, avoid overreacting to their emotional outbursts. Model calmness. Be their stability in this stormy season, in their stormy weather. Be calm. Model calmness. Help them to de-escalate the situation. When they look at you, let them draw stability from you. Let them know that you are not judging them or that you are not giving up on them because of that momentary outburst. Be their anchor. I want to ask for a favor. Please help share this video with as many women as you can come across, and also subscribe to this channel. I have this goal of achieving 500 subscribers within the next 90 days, and I ask that you help me in your own way in achieving this goal. It will mean so much to me. Finally, to nurture this new craving and desire for independence, allow space for independence while still being available to offer your emotional support when needed. Step aside, but still be present. Allow them time, allow them opportunity to exercise themselves in taking responsibility for themselves, in making decisions, yet you are still available to offer advice, whatever support they will need emotionally and otherwise. The third on this list is the cognitive changes. Now your child's brain is undergoing significant changes, most especially the prefrontal cortex. And this is the part of the brain that controls decision making, planning, and impulse control. So how do you respond as a parent? You must start encouraging problem solving. How do you do this? by involving them in problem solving, especially in matters that concerns them directly. Involve them in things like have to do with their academics, in areas, things that involve them directly. Let them be part. Don't just throw solutions at them. Allow them to discover solutions. Give them opportunity to solve their problems. Don't always jump in with answers. Don't always jump in with solutions. Allow them to walk through their own problems. When my kids come to me with questions or problems, I ask them, so what do you think? How do you think we can solve this? What do you think is the answer? Sometimes they say, okay, I think we can do it this way or that way. Sometimes they say they don't know. I say, go and find out how you can solve these problems and come back to me. Giving them opportunities to solve their own problems, to find answers to their own problems, comes with giving a sense of fulfillment and engineers confidence in them. It helps them to grow confident. But bear in mind that that part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, that controls decision making and planning, develops very slowly compared to the limbic system, which controls emotions and risk taking. Therefore, they are more open to act emotionally or to take unnecessary risk. So you must still be the parent. You must pay attention that the final decision still lies on you, especially in the things that matter, especially in the things that have to do, that have a more impactful or long-lasting impact. So you must remain the parent, the chief decision maker in their lives, even at this time, which is why I advocate stepping aside, not stepping away. The next way you should respond as a parent is by setting clear boundaries to provide structure. I am an advocate of boundaries. For me, boundaries are not meant to be restrictive. They are meant to be protective. So boundaries provide structure within which your teenager can safely operate and explore this new hunger, this new drive for independence, for autonomy, this new desire to make decisions. Boundaries provide a safe perimeter, while also you should make room, recognizing that risk-taking is part of their growth process. So these boundaries help to keep them safe, help to keep them in a place where they are not exposed to unnecessary danger. So there's a limit to how far they can experiment, but still give room to this experimentation. This is how they learn. It is how they grow. Finally, on responding to the cognitive changes happening in your child's life, is to never label their mistakes as failures. Rather, frame every mistake as a learning curve, as opportunity for growth. Help them to reframe failure. Help them to see failure as an opportunity to grow. Because truly that is what it is, even for you as an adult. Sometimes we can be too hard on them when they make mistakes. Even some mistakes we make as adults, and we can easily excuse ourselves. We place too much demand on them. We must help them to not see mistake as such a terrible thing, because mistake is not a bad guy. It's how we grow. They must see it as learning curve. They must see it as part of life. Help them to develop a mindset that does not avoid taking action because they are afraid of making mistake. Rather, a mindset that allows them to embrace mistake as a learning curve, to embrace mistake as opportunity to grow and get better, as opportunity to grow muscles for life, to develop their skills for problem solving. They miss it now on this one. Okay, so what is the next way? What's the better way of doing this? What could I have done better?